As the summer wedding season comes to a close, brides-to-be make their final preparations for their upcoming fall nuptials. Close to home, a local bridal boutique is helping those brides as well as those looking toward fall wedding season next year to make sure they are prepared and worry-free for their big day. Joining me now on the Splash Live with more is the owner of Always Couture Bridal Boutique, Lyanna Harris. Lyanna, thanks for being with us today.
Hi, Tyler. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, happy to have you on to talk about this. It's an exciting time for these individuals that are just about to get married and those starting to plan their weddings even for next year. And maybe I'm giving it away a little bit with prefacing that before I ask. You know, when people are looking for that perfect wedding dress, when is that process at best supposed to be beginning?
At best, at least 6 to 8 months out. So a wedding gown can take anywhere from 10 to 16 weeks to be ordered if you're doing a special order. Now, that being said, I know that things are always unpredictable and you can't always know when things are going to happen. You know, you might get engaged and plan your wedding 2 months out and you just have to get everything together as quickly as you can. So there are always options to expedite the process. You could get a special order rushed, or you can buy off the rack, which means you could take that dress home that very day.
And so the process can be either very rushed, very quick, but you still get to the finish line in most of these cases, or it's something that can take a little bit of time and you really get to go through an extensive search. When they do that with their local bridal shop, Lyanna, what process do you take to help these people visualize what they want their wedding day to look like, want themselves to look like in that picture, and then best fit that benchmark?
Yeah, so the entire business model of Always Couture is really about elevating the entire experience. So we walk you through from beginning to the end. We are with you every step of the way. When you come in and get a consultation with us, you come into a beautiful, warm atmosphere. You get handed a glass of champagne. You're sitting there with your friends and your family, and I've already picked out a curated gown selection for you, so you've already got choices here waiting for you, so you don't have to spend extra time just searching through the racks. And this is all based on your preferences. You know, we have phone calls beforehand. You fill out a profile online that tells me what style you're looking for, what your budget is, what sort of event you're having. And all of this information really helps me to specialize an experience that's tailored just for you. So you get to come in and try these beautiful gowns on and feel gorgeous and pampered and comfortable. And then we walk you through the process of purchasing and when your dress will be arriving in the store, when you'll be able to pick it up. And then we also walk you through alterations. So almost every time you buy a bridal gown, you will need something done to it, whether it's just a little nip and tuck here, a full hem, or, you know, an entire remodel, depending on the type of dress that you got. So we cover everything from day one till you pick up your dress and it is perfectly fitted to you.
And so as people begin that process, you mentioned you have phone calls, they fill out a profile. Information's always going to be king when you're trying to put together the perfect experience for someone, especially when it's for a day like this that's supposed to be one of the most special days of anybody's life. So when people are starting that process with you, Lyanna, what information should they be bringing to you? What questions should they be asking you to help set you up to put them in the best position?
Well, really, we only do a few basic questions. You know, how many guests would you like to bring in with you? What is your budget? Your approximate dress size, so we know what we have in the shop that we can have you try on that will fit the most appropriately. And then, like, what your style preferences are. Do you prefer to have a big ball gown, or would you like something more clean cut, more modern, more vintage? You know, the detail of what type of event you're having is also a key component, because, you know, your dress will need to fit the aesthetic of your venue or your theme a lot of the time. And, you know, of course you can mix and match, but a lot of the time you'll want to have a sort of cohesive element to the entire day. So you'll want your dress to be either sleek and modern for like a New York City kind of wedding, or you'll want something more flowy and dreamy and romantic for a backyard or a barn wedding or something like that. So we really try to listen to our brides and to hear what they are really looking for, but also to provide the expertise when they might not know exactly what it is they want. So that is one of the biggest challenges with brides walking through the door. I get it almost every time. A girl has an idea of a dress when she walks through the door, and she almost always leaves with the exact opposite of what she thinks she wants. So it's up to me and my team to have the knowledge and the experience and the respect for the bride to tell her what is going to work for her and what choices she has available that's going to give her the best outcome for what she wants.
The vision may change, but as long as they are satisfied, they're happy with what they've got, and it's fitting ultimately the vision that makes that day magical for them. That's all that matters along the way in this process. Lyanna Harris is with us, the owner of Always Couture Boutique, a bridal boutique in West Bloomfield, on today's edition of The Splash Live. You can get in contact with them and find more information on alwayscoutureboutique.com, as well as on Facebook at Always Couture. Lyanna, there's always going to be a difference when you're going for a specialty product like this between going to some of the corporate chains versus your local boutique shop. So for customers in Greater West Bloomfield and neighboring communities that are about to begin their bridal shopping process, what extra benefit do they get from shopping at one of their local shops like yours?
Oh, so much. It changes the entire experience. So when you walk into one of those bigger chains, it's usually, like going into a grocery store. There's a lot of people around. It's very hectic, it's loud. You're not going to get a lot of one-on-one attention. Even when you have a stylist that's dedicated to you, they're still going to be kind of running around and making sure that this bride is taken care of and, running in the back to grab things. They're not fully focused on you. And that is the difference. That is what you're going to get out of a smaller, more intimate boutique experience, is that when you walk through the door, you are getting personalized one-on-one attention with your stylist at all times. They are right there, dedicated just to you to make sure that your experience is the most enjoyable. And that is really the goal of my entire motivation here is, I want to sell dresses, of course, but more than anything, I want my brides to feel excited and happy and cared for throughout the entire experience while they're here with us.
And lastly, as we go into the fall wedding season, as people are making those final preparations for their weddings this fall and are preparing for those last few weeks, those last few days, the day of next fall, what are some of the common challenges that you see arise from the beginning of the process, the middle of the process as you're getting close to that final dress, and in those weeks and days leading up to wedding day that may end up getting you back involved in the process with brides-to-be?
Well, one of the most common things that I experience with brides throughout any of their planning process is it can be very overwhelming. There are so many choices to make. You're working with a limited time frame no matter how far out you plan. You've got to get things together as quickly as possible. And it's, there's a bit of herding cats involved when you're trying to get everything figured out with your guest list and getting people to RSVP and, signing contracts with vendors. And there's so much that goes into it. And it's really, really easy to get stressed out and overwhelmed, which kind of ruins the process for you a little bit. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be exciting. And when you're constantly worried about whether or not you're going to be able to book the right florist or whether or not your dress is going to make it to you on time, it's just those little things, those little details that a place like mine helps you to take care of that really makes the difference. And like I said, we take care of a person from stepping through the door the first day in the shop to all the way at the end of alterations. I've been a bridal seamstress for my entire life. I'd say about 27, 28 years. And people look at me funny whenever I say that because I don't look like I should have been doing this that long, but I've been sewing since I was 6 years old. And I've been working on bridal gowns since I was in high school. I've got education, background, experience, and I've had various mentorships with some of the best seamstresses in the state. So that is also one of the big things that differs from my boutique as opposed to others, is that me and my team are all experienced in alterations. So we know how dresses are constructed. We're familiar with textiles and quality. So not only do you get the expertise behind making this dress everything that you're wanting it to be, but we also curate a quality selection of gowns because we are familiar with what quality is, what makes a gown fit appropriately, what makes a type of textile, type of fabric worth putting into a bridal gown. You know, what makes a good fabric versus a bad fabric, and how it's going to drape and how it's going to fit. All of these are benefits that you get when you work with us because it helps to, like I said, elevate the experience. You're getting so much more than just a shopping experience. You're really getting one-on-one advice and expertise and really just a specialized process from the beginning to the end.
The personalization plays a big role in this, especially when you want to fit the image of your perfect day and stand out from all the other weddings throughout the summer and the fall. Lyanna, thank you so much for your time today and for introducing us to your local business here in West Bloomfield.
Thank you for having me.